Okay, hi.
Hello.
I want to thank you for coming out to listen to my presentation this afternoon. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, of course.
Are we supremely created, or do we share a common ancestor with ache? The purpose of this research paper is to discuss and analyze the current debate about teaching evolution and creationism in the science classroom in secondary education, and to offer support for teaching evolution. Religious traditions and beliefs are important in American society. However, the question remains, does it belong in public schools? According to Eugenie Scott, the debate between creationism and evolution will continue because of the strong religious heritage in American history. However, the U.S. Constitution makes it very clear that there is to be a distinct separation between church and state. The discussion for evolution is that evolution is a concept which follows the standards of science, with the ability to be tested and is falsifiable. Charles Darwin catapulted the concept of evolution in the late 19th century, which profoundly unified most areas in science, allowing testing, research, and other advancements within the scientific community. Evolution, as all science, is a method of explaining the natural world through observation and measuring social and natural phenomena. The term theory in science means more than a hunch or a notion. It's a concept accepted to the scientific body of knowledge to be true, which nonetheless is continuously tested and observed, and even able to develop new ideas that again can and must be proven through testing and or observation. The discussion for creationism is that creationism is a religious concept, which does not, however, follow the standards of science without the ability to be tested. However, it does follow the majority of American religious cultures and their belief systems. According to answers in Genesis, polls show that most Americans are creationists, and that many teachers say they actually want to teach creation, but aren't sure how. Creationism indicates that there is a lawgiver, intelligent designer, or creator who is supernatural. If you turn here to this bar graph, according to new Gallup polls, it represents and surveys between Republicans, here on the far end, Independents, and Democrats, of those who are in favor of creationism and those who are on the fence with evolution. According to their findings, there are more Americans that believe in creationism than those who actually believe in evolution. The polls show here that those who believe in evolution among Democrats and Independents are higher than those of Republicans. Although evolution has proven to be very essential in studies for scientific advancements, most Americans are indeed on the fence in teaching evolution. Creationists urge that secondary schools should teach creation only, or argue that it should at least be taught along with evolution as an alternative point of view. Unfortunately for creationists, the U.S. Constitution does not agree that creation belongs in secondary science classrooms, and has declared it unconstitutional. Creationism is a very complex and problematic concept, since America is comprised of many faiths and beliefs that are not the Israel version of God created the world in 6 days, as it says in the book of Genesis, which is the quintessential belief of a creationist. Science necessitates wonder, curiosity, and most importantly, inquiry. Questioning is key in science, and according to the National Science Teachers Association, evolution is a unifying concept. Because science limits itself to natural explanations and not religious or ultimate ones, science teachers should neither advocate any religious interpretation of nature nor assert that religious interpretations of nature are not possible. However, for the science community, for students to be considered scientifically literate, he or she must learn and understand evolution. This is a standard of science education, and teachers must aid in quality science teaching to meet these state science standards. Evolution does not indicate that man came from monkeys, but simply that we share a common ancestor, and this is according to Eugene Scott. Again, misrepresentation has been the downside to evolution. Evolution is a unifying concept not just in biological sciences, but science in general, and science teachers must begin teaching the nature of science in order for students to begin to understand the significance in which evolution holds in the scientific body of knowledge. In conclusion, science begins in the science classroom without deducing the role and place of evolution in the science curriculum. Science teachers should begin increasing emphasis on developing students' understanding of the nature of science and their science inquiry abilities. It is not for science for the sake of popularity to dilute or misrepresent evolution, and neither is it for the U.S. Supreme Court to misinterpret the U.S. Constitution simply for the majority. Creation simply does not foster inquiry, nor do it have the ability to be proven or even tested. Outside of reference, and therefore should not be included in science curriculum. On the other hand, I do believe that there could be a place for creationism in secondary education. It could perhaps be included in religious or social studies, mythology, or literature curriculum. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually. I'm wondering, you mentioned towards the end of your presentation, you were kind of talking a little bit about the nature of science and how students need to understand that. And so I guess I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about it to me.
Okay. Well, the nature of science involves inquiry and curiosity, which was kind of a theme throughout the paper or throughout the presentation. And according to Evolution and Perspective, it states that science is a particular way of understanding the natural or observable world.
Okay. So with that, I guess with that understanding, can you maybe articulate a little bit more why creationism can't be taught, or why it doesn't fall into that?
Yes. Creationism explains, does not foster inquiry. It can't be tested, so it does not adhere to scientific standards for scientific literary advancements in secondary education.
Okay, so because it doesn't foster inquiry, it shouldn't be taught in a science classroom.
In a science classroom, correct.
Okay. I have one more question.
Okay.
You mentioned, you talked about the U.S. Supreme Court towards the end of your presentation too, and you had mentioned that the Supreme Court shouldn't misinterpret the Constitution based on, I guess, the majority belief or the majority consensus. So I guess I'm wondering, how does the U.S. Supreme Court interpret the Constitution with regard to teaching creationism?
Okay. Well, according to the Foundations of American Education, the U.S. Constitution is not a document that favors neither evolution or creationism. It does understand the implications of creationism, essentially being a religious or non-scientific concept, and for that will not support an establishment of religion as indicated in the First Amendment.
Okay. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.